So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. This is your host Ashutosh once again with again a Friday evening session of Happy Hour of Coaching. And I'm really excited to call upon the podium today Preem Prakassh, and he's a seasoned agile professional. Someone who's going to talk about a very interesting topic. I think this is one topic which I feel always gets neglected, right? The human dimension in an agile transformation. We always talk about processes, we always talk about tools, we always talk about transformation in our agile journey, right? But what about people, right? What about the human side of agile? So I think we have a very interesting topic on the cards, navigating the human side of agile. And I would now like to invite Prem to walk us through his thoughts on this and what could be the challenges in an agile adaptation more from the human side. So over to you, Prem. The entire forum is yours, and you can start sharing the screen and you can take it up from here. And once again, thanks for being gracious enough to accept this invite.
Thanks so much, Ashutosh, and good evening, good morning, good afternoon to each one of you who have spent or who have decided to spend some time. Am I audible and also visible?
Yes, you're audible and visible. And you can also share the screen now. You can try sharing.
I am not able to see myself, so I'm not very sure.
No, we can see you. We can perfectly see you.
It's all good, right? Perfect. So on a Friday evening, weekend has all started, and it is, yes, I think I'm absolutely nicely visible now. Let me. On a Friday evening, I'm going to take your precious 30 minutes, and trust me, and I assure you all that it's going to be extremely, extremely valuable. Okay. So first of all, I'm going to share my screen. I want all of you to give your attention. Let me share my screen. Let me confirm that you're all able to see my screen. Are you all able to see my screen? Sorry for the logistics. Not able to find out. Sorry.
So maybe Prakash, you can keep in the presentation mode if that helps.
I'm just trying to hide this because of which I'm having some problem. I don't know why it is.
You can just put slideshow and from current slide, just click on slideshow on the top.
Sorry. I was finding out that control.
Yeah, it is there. Now it is perfect. Good. Go ahead. Perfect. Yes.
Perfect. So thank you very much. I can see a good amount of interest, curiosity among all of you. Let me try and first set the context extremely, extremely clear. In the next 30 minutes, I'm going to broadly talk upon these three aspects. I'm going to talk about the problem. I'm going to talk about the potential reason. There are several. I'm going to just touch upon one reason. And then I'm going to talk about mitigation. Before I start, let me call out very clearly, out of my 2 decades of IT experience, somewhere around 10 years of transformation, and my research experience, anything and everything that I'm going to speak is going to be substantiated with data and with my experience. Okay? So nothing that is going to be shared without any substantiation. Let's now start understanding what the problem Preem is going to talk about. Yeah. I want each one of you to introspect, take some time and observe the next few slides that I'm going to show you and try and relate to what I'm talking. The first slide. These are few of the behavioral patterns, I would say anti-patterns, that I have tried to share with all of you, that you come across either in your organization where you work or in the organization where you have worked, the agile transformation that you've gone through or you're experiencing it currently, the first behavioral trait is people feeling reluctant and tensed that if I commit a mistake, I will be blamed. And please take notes. So, mistake or blame. This behavioral pattern talks about that how does one feel if he or she commits a mistake? Is it taken as a feat forward? Is it taken as a learning stepping stone or a blame? Be with me. Let's go to the next one. This is another behavioral trait across organization, my dear friends, where people think, is it difficult to ask for help? Should I ask for help or am I going to be judged? Is this going to be extremely, extremely difficult asking for help? Be with me. My third important behavioral pattern is about a very sensitive matter. People thinking, should I call out tough issues and problems or should I hide them? Should I hide those true thoughts within me as an individual? Because it is safer to do so. And why is it so? Because it's going to be politically and emotionally expensive. Be with me, my dear friends. Let these 3 slides sink properly and understand and appreciate that I am 100% sure each one of us has or in the past gone through this and interacted with these kind of team members, individuals. The next one, the risk dilemma. Should I actually take risk? No, I should avoid that because I don't have a safety net. So each one of us, somewhere or the other in the organization, when we work, in my 2 decades of work experience, this is also one of the teething issues that I have seen in the behavioral aspect, that people have that risk dilemma. Should I be a risk taker or should I just stick and be a risk avoider? And if you've understood all these 4 behavioral traits, my dear participants, right from being blamed to being worried to seek help to being really hesitant calling out tough issues and problems to being in a dilemma to take risk, these are some of those behavioral traits that we day in and day out as change agent, as an organization participants, we come across. Fear of failure, collaboration reluctance, information hoarding, one of the key things, lack of trust, blame culture, fear of committing a mistake. I want each one of you to just let this slide sink. Get this understanding, because I am now about to reveal the problem statement which I am going to call out. Yes, most of the people here, close to 13 odd people listening to me, one way or the other is part of an agile organization or an agile initiative. And what problem that I'm calling out, which Ashutosh sir started off with, that when agile tools and processes marry without a culture of human touch, they're bound to separate. I repeat, when agile tools and processes marry without a culture of human touch, they are bound to separate. It's exactly same as if there is lack of emotion, lack of warmth, lack of that human touch, any relationship fails. And that's exactly what I'm calling out as my problem statement. But why is Preem calling out this? Who is Preem to say this? As I said, I've been a researcher for the last 9 years. and I've been in this agile transformation for more than a decade now, one of the things which I want to bring out is a fact, a data by one of the leading bodies, digital.ai, whose recent report says that 72% of people felt satisfied last year with agile practices, and this has gone down to 59%. I repeat, 72% was the satisfaction level, and this has now gone to 59%, despite organizations calling out that transformation is in full swing. Adoption percentage has been increasing. Let this point sink. And something even more shocking, my dear friends, in small organizations, the satisfaction levels are much better than large and medium organizations. For more than 18 long years, I've worked with large enterprises, worked with giants, and today I work with a startup. And believe me, I have personally experienced that the satisfaction levels and the focus toward this is slightly different in these small, medium, and large. That's one point. And if you all have actually understood my problem and then the motivation behind it, let me show you one more revelation. You must be thinking, what is this? Research has come up. There are very established scholars who have researched and come back that these agile practices are actually having an impact on the well-being of an individual. And that's not Preem who is talking about this. I'm just bringing it here. Well-being, the mental health. Point to be noting. And this brings me to one of the important slides again in my presentation, where I'm trying to call out that today, across the globe, we all are talking about agile. We are all saying we are agile. We have trained people in agile. We have implemented process. We have implemented tools. But my dear friends, the first and the foremost value in the agile manifesto is somewhere getting defeated, or should I say diluted. Individuals and interactions over process and tools somewhere, and this is again my opinion, and I'm sure most of you in this room would agree to this, that individuals and interactions somewhere or the other is missed out. And for everybody's information, as I promised you, you have given me your 30 precious minutes, and it's my duty that I add value. Just to share with all of you that there is a separate stream in academics altogether which has started, which is called behavioral operations management. All these while we were talking about operations management, but today scholars across the globe, US, UK specifically, are talking about behavioral side. They are saying these operations are not going to give me the same results because I am missing on the human touch. And somewhere in this agile transformation bandwagon, we are missing this human angle of individuals and interaction. And hence, my problem statement remains, which I want to call out in front of all of you, is that agile tools and processes are being married without a culture of human touch. And that is not going to help us at all. And nobody's bothered, my dear friends. Or even if it is bothered, this is just ignored. Just give me 1 minute. As I said, process and tools is the focus, but the underpinning cultural implementation is somewhere getting lost. And that is why, if you look at Harvard Business Review research articles, if you look at various practitioners' report, they will call out this, and they've been calling out, shouting out, that Agile is not just about process and tools implementation, my dear friends. It's also about cultural implementation, and that too in the true sense, and not just on paper. But then why is Preem trying to talk so much about this? Because this is one of the key things where the world is now talking about. But what is the potential reason behind this problem? And that's very interesting, because here I have brought in front of all of you just one potential reason. There are several behavioral reasons. I have come up with one in the interest of time, and this is very close to my heart. And I'm extremely proud that I'm sharing this with you, because I am personally very closely working on this area. Then what is it? And here you go. Psychological safety, my dear friends. This is a most important point in the recent past, both in academics and in the practice. All the agile practitioners like you and me, all the change leaders have now started talking about it, because they have understood that gone are those days where you could just run operations. Today you have to run operations plus the behavioral aspect. And that is why you see there's so much of traction, so much of openings, so much of opportunity for agile coaches, scrum masters, agile agents, because they are the true ambassadors. They are the true people who are going to bring this in front of people who possibly are going through these behavioral challenges, but possibly are unaware how to overcome them. But why is this so very important? Because again, this is something which I have thought, digged, and then come up. Psychological safety for me and for everybody here, I'm sure, is the heartbeat of agile success. Yes, most of the projects in agile are succeeding or failing, and one of the critical success factors remain as psychological safety: individual, team, organization. So when I'm talking across three levels. So just for people who are listening to me, for them, it is basically all three levels and not just one. But what is this psychological safety doing? What impact is it bringing? It's actually hammering. And who is getting hammered? The psychological safety is getting hammered by the culture, by the organizational practices, by the organizational process, which is lacking that human angle. And that is why I wanted to share with all of you the human aspect of agile transformation. Today, every time when I meet people across organizations, talk to those people, speak whenever I get invited, I keep shouting on the top of my voice that this culture is hammering the very essence of agile transformation. And this is again not Prem who is telling this. These are all in the reports, these are all in the studies, these are all out of the experience that we all go through. What happens if it is high? We've been talking about it. What happens basically? Take a minute, guys, and just appreciate this slide, which I have tried to build for all of you. And I have tried to just stick to few important ones that I have felt in my work experience, that these are so very important. The peer learning, the help of peers, active engagement in agile ceremonies, thought that failure can occur even if you try new things, the collectivism in decision making. There is absolutely no fear of being blamed. And then there is always a respect and value for those unique skills and talents that you have got. So at this point in time till now, I have spoken to you about the teething problem. I have spoken to you about the potential reason, and I've also told you that why this reason is so very important. Absence of this will result in those behavioral patterns, and presence of this at a higher degree is going to give you all this. So now we have spoken about the problem. We have spoken about the potential reason. My job is now to talk about those strategies. I'm not doing justice with people here listening to me if I'm not calling out what those strategies are. And why am I here to share that? Because I have personally tried it, I have personally experienced it day in and day out when I work with the senior leadership team. And I have personally tried and seen massive results coming out of it. So let's see what those strategies are. And I've kept it very simple and straightforward. The first one, take a second, look at this. What am I trying to showcase here? There are three important elements that I have put in this slide. One is walk the talk, the second is owning it, and third is blame-free culture. But what is the basis in this? My dear friends, you all have been reading about leadership support. You all have been reading and talking across different forums that leadership is the key element to improve the essence of agile transformation. But then, what is being missed out by all the agile agents is that somewhere or the other, they are not able to convey, they are not able to put across that it is not just the leadership support, it is not the budget, it is not the sponsor, is it not the heads up? It is also about leaders walking the talk. I have personally experienced leaders who have said that if you are calling out something, if you're trying out new things, you're not committing a mistake, rather you are learning. It is absolutely fine. And they have displayed that. They have manifested it. And if leaders are showcasing and walking the talk, owning it, the subsequent levels will get the motivation, my dear friends. And again, when I read about this, when I actually tried it, I also saw that this is one of the important strategies in which agile transformation is really seeing and reaping benefits. It takes time. It doesn't happen overnight, my dear friends. And I'm sure 16 people listening to me would appreciate that it is not an easy task. And hence, this is absolutely on my slide. I have personally spoken to leaders, I've personally worked with them, and I have seen them, how they have brought that culture in the meetings, how they have brought that culture of owning it, how they have brought that culture of saying, I own it. And that has created massive motivation, massive psychological safety that yes, it's fine. I can make mistakes. Because it's not mistake, it is basically making me move forward. It is making me more creative. I can try new things. I can experiment new things. And Agile is all about that. Take a second. Sync with this. Because the next slide that I'm going to bring is even more powerful. And this is one of the key things what is making a lot of difference. Individualism has to be crossed and collectivism has to be brought. Those days are gone when there was a hero on the stage. The age is now of collective decision making. And if you want to see the agile transformation take a different level from the process and tools, as agile ambassadors, as agile change agents, I sincerely request you all to bring collectivism. And again, this is not just at the leadership level, it is absolutely at the downmost level. Collectivism. How? In decision making, in thought process. I'll give an instance here, and this was very interesting. I was actually interacting for one of the agile transformation that we were doing. And in that process, there was somebody who came up with some suggestion. And when that suggestion came, when that input came, there was a curiosity than a rejection. Even though that point was not that solid, there was a curiosity from the listener to actually let that come, which gives a person that confidence that, yes, I'm being heard. Believe me, friends, all these important and small little things, active listening, I'm sure people have been talking about it. All these are bringing in the feature of collectivism in the organization, in the agile teams, which is making that psychological safety improved. This is another important strategy. So I wanted to bring to both of all of you here that shared decision making, and obviously leaders walking the talk, bringing in the blame free culture is basically are basically the two important strategies that can bring that bit of human touch that is very important to give that input, give that power to the psychological safety of an individual team member or in the organization. If you've understood this, I just want to summarize that we spoke about the problem, and my problem was predominantly in terms of the behavioral pattern. I went and showed you that the problem is predominantly to do with the problem in the actual implementation, the transformation itself. Then I spoke to all of you about the reason behind that. There are several behavioral reasons. I have brought one. And then I spoke about what you can do. And not just agile people who are listening to me, people other than agile also. How do you basically reap the benefits by those strategies? And that's exactly what I wanted to do with all of you here in my small presentation. With my folded hands, I just want to say thank you. And I hand it over to Ashutosh, sir, and we can have Q&A. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, thanks, Prem, for this excellent session. I think I mean a very short and a crisp session, I must say. And yes, a lot of insights into this. So maybe we can open the floor for questions if you're okay, and then let's see if participants have any questions. So participants, if you have any questions, you can raise hand and then I can unmute you. If any of you has got a question, please feel free to raise hand. Yeah, I think Ashwin has got a question. So Prem, you're there, right? Prem, you can hear me, right?
Yes, sir. I can.
Yeah. So Ashwin is going to speak now. So let me unmute Ashwin. Yeah, go ahead, Ashwin.
First of all, thank you, Prem sir and Ashutosh sir, to organize such a beautiful session. It was a great learning. My question would be, it's basically psychological things are the utmost important in today's competitive world. Now, at a small organization and medium organization, it's very much adaptable. But at the large organization level, how we can make this as a practice, how we can approach it as an agile practitioner. Any insights that you can help us, or anything on a example front we can read the studies from, any documents from, so that we can also learn from it. It would be appreciated.
That's a very good question. Ashutosh sir, I would like you to add. Let me share few of the inputs from my side. Ashwin, first of all, thank you so much for asking this question. And if I could answer your question, anybody goes through this learning journey. And when we go through this, the best place where you can pick up things are two places. Number one is your own work environment, the work experience that you go through. That's the first. And the second are wonderful bunch of articles available, industry reports available. If you go to scholar.google.com, you will find several research papers where people like you and me who are from practice are contributing. I'm myself now watching to publish one of my research papers in one of the international journals, Touchwood. If it gets published, I'm going to share with all of you. And the best place where you can pick up all these to answer your question would be the industry reports, just like the what I showed you, digital.ai. It's very well available. You can go through each one of them and then check. Then there is again another thing where a lot of people have put a lot of white papers. There are a lot of case studies in the organizations where they have uploaded it in their portals. You can go through and read their transformation journeys. You can actually understand those challenges that they have faced. And number four is be collaborative in these platforms. Ashutosh sir is doing a great and a wonderful job in helping us all be together to learn. I think these are the ways where you will really increase your learning curve and improve there. Ashwin, if I've answered your question.
Thanks, Prem. Yeah. So we also have another question from Vijay, and yeah, there are a couple of questions on chat also, which I will pick up in a moment. But Vijay, you can go next.
Yes, Vijay.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Prakash, and thank you, Ashutosh. So my question is, um, since it is the problem with the psychology, so if we see core thing inside Agile, the value added advantage is really a core thing inside Agile. But so my question is that why it is too much difficult to implement and transform, having understanding that the value advantage is embedded inside the Agile.
What a
Why,
beautiful
why it
question.
is why it is too much difficult to in too much difficult inside the team, so that they cannot adapt it easily or fastly on a fast track, but they are always in a mode of laid back attitude.
Such a beautiful question, Vijay. And this is not just for agile change agents. I'm sure we all are parents, we all have kids, we all go through human interaction at home, in offices, everywhere. And one of the biggest challenge that we all go through is this behavioral aspect. See, it is not tough. The problem is that we human beings are wired, our cognitive wiring is in such a way. And I'm not a psychologist, but yes, my mom is a psychologist. What happens is that these wiring, the cognitive wiring that is there within us, that really resists us a lot. And Vijay, if I can also answer your question through the research mind of mine, there is a very, very good theory which was developed in the year 1995, 2000, kind of a thing, by a person called Westerby. And he came up with a theory called as behavioral reasoning theory. And he has said, he has kind of modeled human behavior by way of value system, attitude, reasons why we do certain things, reasons why we don't do certain things, and that decides our intention and then in turn our behavior. Now, I was looking at this, I was reading that theory, and I found out that it is basically because our cognitive wiring is so tough that we resist to change. And that is one of the reasons why, Vijay, I'm sure you would have also encountered that people who go through Agile, they are very, very resistive to change. And I'm sure 100 of other people here would also agree that the problem is that we want to bring the change, but then there is so much of resistance. They are very, very comfortable in what they are doing for years together. My father still doesn't want to use a smartphone, while my mom is using it. So it is also about the degree of you being more inclined towards those benefits and you actually coming out of that psychological barrier. I can discuss in length, go on and on, Vijay, but then I can tell you it is tough, and that is why people are struggling with this. But let me tell you this, Vijay, out of my experience and my interaction, there is a huge traction now coming up in the behavioral side, both in academics and practice. And this is going to really take us to different level. That's all I can answer to you, Vijay, at this point in time. It takes
Thanks.
time.
Yeah, thanks, Prem. Yeah, I think that really helps. Yeah, we can go ahead. Nitin has a question. Nitin, go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for a lovely session. Myself, Nitin, work as an agile coach in automotive industry mainly, and I have seen this pattern what you showed in the slides. My question is mainly based on your experience. What do you see? I usually get this question as a agile coach. What is your KPI, or what do you, you know? how do you put forth? So for me, this whatever session you gave is one of my most KPI for me. But in general, what is your thought on this? Because this is something which is very often asked for an agile coach. If you're a coder, your output is tangible. But if you're an agile coach, you are always bound to show some metrics or some kind of a KPI, like a burn down chart or velocity chart or something like this. That is the only improvement which they see, but no one cares about the behavioral aspects or human touch, what you covered in your slide. So this is my question to you, Prem.
First of all, Nitin, I'm absolutely thrilled. You guys have made my weekend, because after a thrilling session, the questions are absolutely value adding. And folded hands, thank you so much, all of you. This question which Nitin has asked also somewhere or the other answers Vijay's question. So now what I have done, and as I said, everything that I talk, I have done it. Now there is something called, so Nitin, a psychological safety index. Okay. Now there are certain set of questions that you can actually answer a question, your team members or your fellow or whoever you are assessing, and you can arrive at an index. If you go to Harvard Business Review, if you go to different practitioners' white papers, you will find that people are using that index. There is this person called Edmund, if I remember his name, he came up with this psychological safety index. Now, as a agile coach, to answer your question, if I were you and I've done that, I would rather use that index. And then I will show it that, look, this was where I was, and I have brought it to this level. And believe me, you're absolutely right. People are only talking about velocity, burn down, this and that. The day is coming, my dear friend, when people are going to talk about these behavioral index. Mark my words. And that is why I'm saying the days are very close where organizations are going to give you those importance. And it's not just going to be on paper. It's going to be on practice. Yeah, Nitin, I've answered your question.
Thanks, Prem. We can go next to Brijesh. Brijesh, go ahead, and yeah, you can ask your question.
Thank you. Yeah, hi, Ashutosh, and hi, Prem. So thank you very much for conducting such a wonderful session. First of all, and like such topics are being ignored or not being given such importance. Literally, how is it required? Human touch is very much required at various level, starting from starting to end level. So my question is just the extension of the last two questions, which was raised by other colleagues. So my question is, like, we know what is human touch and why it is required. We know the importance of this. We know the benefits. But still, I have seen that experienced leader, those who have been in the industry, they just reach and they say you are not able to do. You cannot do. You don't have the capability. They reach to a conclusion without telling about multiple things what you taught us today. So what is the any framework, what is any idea, or what is any formula or any theory which can be brought to the organizations or such leaders or such people, so that they can understand it and they can apply it at the workplace? And in spite of blaming others, I think the theory can go just revert to that, and we can get a good people, good velocity, good kind of results, and KPI getting delivered, and we get the result done. Hope I'm clear with my question.
Brijesh, your question is absolutely one of the most relevant questions, and whatever Ashwin, whatever Nitin and Vijay asked, I think you have actually just gone a couple of notches higher in your question. Yes, you're absolutely right. As I said, people are only talking on paper. Yeah. And I'm sure, as you rightly said, Brijesh, you have also encountered the same as an organization agile coach or an enterprise agile coach. Come on, yaar, just do whatever it is. Please bothered about it. The leadership is one of the crucial elements. See, if I were you, and again, if I'm not passionate and convinced, I will never be talking about this topic here, such a sensitive topic. If I were you, Brijesh, I would have done two things. And this is the motive of my life also. Anything which cannot be measured, right, has no value. Do you agree? Now, if I have to show results, if I have to bring that conviction in my leaders, I would use these measurement, these behavioral indexes to ensure that I bring to their table the problem. I tell them that, boss, this is my data. Today, organizations are taking data driven decisions. Look, I am here. I have conducted a survey. I have found out on this that our psychological safety index is alarming. People are in a state of fear. And if you want creativity to happen, Brijesh, if you want new and difficult things to be experiment in your team, come on. People, if they are not going to take that, it's not going to happen. So to answer your question, if I were you, I would have measured it. I would have brought those mitigations, brought those conviction in my leaders, and then shown the results. And when you show those step by step increments, that's where you win hearts. That's where you win the confidence of your senior leaders. And I personally tried that. Whenever you have time, feel free to reach out to me. I will call out those strategies that I have myself experienced in tech startups and large enterprises. Otherwise, I wouldn't be speaking here. Yeah. Yes. The next question.
Thanks, Prem. Yeah, and thanks, Brijesh. Yeah. So we have Sajita. Sajita, go ahead.
Good evening. Hope I'm audible.
Yes, you are.
Good evening. Thanks a lot, firstly, for a wonderful session. Really obliged to be an attendee and part of it. Um, I'm also an agile coach in an IT industry, and as you rightly mentioned, psychological safety is one of the most important barrier, although it's one of the most important, and then we say barrier to it. I would like to understand, as you rightly mentioned, that you've worked in big organizations as well as now in a startup. So, what has been a challenging situation, and how you have tried to overcome that in maybe in one of the large organizations? If you could share your experience, how you have tackled that situation with the leadership, it will be helpful for us.
Thanks, Sajita. And I will answer this agnostic of agile, okay? If that is okay. Yeah. So there are two parts of the question which Sajita asked. And if people are listening to me, this is my story. So at the age of 40, a well-settled job in UK, a well-settled job in one of the largest enterprises in India or the multinational, I decided to leave it. Everybody was against it, other than my family members, my wife, my parents. And I said, if I have to make a difference, and if I see that, yes, if I have the capability to make a difference, first, I will have to bring that difference within myself, within my own self. And I took that challenge from a very process based setup. I moved to a very chaotic setup. I moved to a setup which was very fast paced, something which was well structured, well processed, easy going. I moved to a state at the age of 40 where people like to settle down. I took this as a challenge, rubbing shoulders with the IITs and the IIMs of the world. And I took this as a challenge where I am working now in a fast paced organization, in a very, very fast, chaotic space where you are basically on your toes doing this to bring things in place. So, to the first part of your question, Sajita, it was a difficult journey altogether. It is not easy to transform yourself. I did that. It took me 2 years to do so. And that is why you see me standing here. Uh, when it comes to the agile perspective, I saw that I was able to deliver more value in the last 2 years as an agile practitioner, what I was able to in the last 8, 10 years in different organizations. And it was tough though. But then, since I work very closely with senior leadership, I was able to really bring in them, as I told to Brijesh and others, that I was able to really show them results, bringing in those data points. And when you bring those data points in front of them, when you show them those things, not just the story points and the velocity and the burn down, when you actually show them the behavioral aspect, they really buy in your thoughts. And it is your convincing power, it is your way of putting it across. What challenges you put across to Sajita, it's your ability, and that is something which we learn over the years. So to answer your question, it was a tough journey. To answer the second part of your question, yes, it was much easier. Today, I'm reaping the benefits. I'm able to see the results. But no, it was not so easy. But you have to very closely work with the leaders. You have to very closely work with the individuals, and you see the results.
Thanks,
Yes.
thanks a lot. Yeah, I think Bal Ganesh, I think you had a question. I think you have put something in the chat. Maybe if you can ask the question now. I mean, because obviously the context may not come out of what you have written. So if you can just unmute and ask the question. But I believe it was for the presentation. What when Prem was making, you had put some pointers. So would you like to ask the question here? And maybe I can unmute you if you would like to.
Yeah, hi Asosha. Thanks for
yeah.
opportunity. I'm not able to unmute initially. So very insightful session. Thanks, Prem, for your
Thank you.
session. So as you were saying, the owning as a leader. So that owning. So do you mean that owning as a team collectively, that culture should be given more importance, or owning as a agile thought leader who will drive the processes to promote or foster that culture? What is that ownership primarily focused on? Because the team always tends to see the scrum masters or agile coaches as people who would try to bring in some matrices or suggestions. Then they'll have the notion that we are the people who will work on the field, and that is very critical than speaking few things outwardly regarding the process. That's what they generally feel. This is the first question. And does it also give us a thought that we should also be very actively participating in their technical decisions and technical design discussions, so that we can walk the talk? Do you mean the same?
Okay. Slightly, I can understand there was a lot of things in your question, but then Balganesh, I will try to answer that, and others also in the call can answer. If I were you, and if I had to really say, and that is the reason why I just put 2 strategies and didn't put a lot of them, just to not overwhelm you guys. When I say owning it, all I want to say is you have to lead by example, and not lead by example just on the paper. You have to actually show that. You have to manifest that. You have to actually show that getting manifested. And when you see the leaders doing it, your juniors, your team members, your subordinates, they are going to get inspired. They would get that motivation. And these are the interviews that have been recorded, Balganesh, and you can very well go and read them, where you can see that employees have said that when the leader himself or herself has displayed that yes, there is no blame culture, there is absolutely nothing to be pointing out, it's originally a stepping stone, people get inspired, people get motivated, their cognitive change happens from resistance to acceptance, and that's where they take 2 miles further. They feel like working, they feel like having a safe work environment. So to answer the first part of question, it is not just the leader, it's going to be everybody. But then when leader does that, it drills down subsequently to the lower levels. What was the second question? What was the second part of your question? Can you repeat the second part of your question?
So the question was walk the talk, right? I think you mentioned walk the talk. So does it mean that as a Scrum must have to be technical enough to also help the developers? That is what
I would say as Scrum Master, basically, I personally don't say that you have to be technical to help them, but it is basically as a servant leader, you should really show that and set that as an example. I think there are people who get inspired by my communication skill within my team itself, and when they see and look up to me, they really respect me, and then they really see that yes, they can come and seek help, and they feel that yes, that's how I'm helping them. So I don't see the technical knowledge of going at the code level or the technicalities, but then you should have the basic understanding of things, Balganesh. So to answer your question, it is not necessary, but then yes, having it definitely helps. For sure, it helps.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, I agree. Walk the talk would be difficult if you don't have the technical acumen to connect with the team. Is what I observed in my.
So as a servant leader, whatever are your responsibilities, whatever are your focus areas, I think you should walk the talk there. And people who are in their respective area should walk the talk there. That's what I feel. That's how I can answer this. Yeah. Any other
Okay.
questions?
Yeah, I think Ashwin has a question. I'll give once again the chance. Ashwin, go ahead. Ashwin, do you have any question? I think I see your hand raised.
Yes, I was looking out to unmute myself. Thank you so much. So on the previous question, Prem, I just heard one thing. Nowadays, there is a trend that's happening. They are trying to finish their role up as an agile coach or a scrum master. Now, the only based it's a cost cutting or whatever reasons behind that is, it's a trend which I have observed that a scrum master role is almost finished, and the only role that's have is product owner. Product owner is only going to have the team give the deliverables, work with teams mental or whatever performance level, and also technically product owner should be able to handle the team as well. So is it going to impact the things psychologically, or is it going to be a new trend on a psychological basis that will be occurring in a near future that we can expect?
Ashwin, this is absolutely going to come. Senior leaders are going to bring that very soon. Believe me, with AI coming in the talent acquisition process, believe me, with every area of recruitment, you are having this AI enabled stuff. Very soon, I'm sure when I take classes for I am Ratak, I talk about HR analytics, and there I was talking about the recruitment systems where AI is used and all the behavioral aspects are being tested. Trust me, the JDs of Agile Coach and Scrum Masters are going to assess you with these behavioral aspects also. Those days are very soon to come, where you open a LinkedIn post and you would see people talking about the requirements of behavioral aspect, not just on paper, you'll be assessed with it as well. So to answer your question, very soon you will have these. That is the reason why there is so much of traction in academics and practice. And I am glad that Ashutosh sir has invited for such a topic, such a great topic. So yes, Ashwin, it is going to very soon be there. Very soon. In fact, it has started. It has started. Ashutosh sir, you want to add to this question? This is a good question.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yes. I mean, I was also talking to another person the other day where the same thing came up, right? And like nowadays, we are not getting any agile jobs. Is agile getting dead? I think we keep on hearing these terms, right? So one thing, yes, agile. My view again, this is my view. People are free to differ with this. My view is that agile is not going to die, right? I mean, the form is going to change, right? The content of it is going to change. And yes, I mean, we may not get those traditional roles like an agile coach with a standard JD into it. A lot of these things, in fact, what I learned today, right? I mean, they're going to definitely evaluate that. We might have to even I might have to undergo an EQ test. You never know. They will say that let us first evaluate the EQ of this person, because other things I think we can get it automated, right? I mean, what are the retrospective action points, whether they are being tracked or not. But let us see how Ashutosh fits in the emotional quotient, and especially in a team which is having a constant conflict in the last few months. If this is a problem statement, I'm sure these things are going to come out. As you said, sooner or later, it might have also started. I'm not in the job market right now, but yeah, these could have definitely started. You never know.
Exactly. And with AI, nothing is impossible now. So yes, it is.
Okay.
Ashwin, very good question. Very good question. Yeah. Anybody else has any question?
Yeah, I think we have. Yeah, maybe we'll have two more questions, and I can see Sajita has raised hand again. So Sajita, go ahead.
Thank you for giving me another opportunity. Just a related question. So, as you rightly mentioned, AI is in a way taking over, and not just like anything and everything for that matter. And I just wanted to understand, how can we upskill ourselves or strengthen ourselves to sustain in this market, and to ensure that we are also secure, at the same time able to add value. So are there any tips or techniques that you would like to share how we can upskill ourselves?
Oh, when I go to colleges, people ask me this question. Okay.
We are also in college in a way now, right?
So
Coach, being an agile coach is just like being a student as
those
always.
these this question is asked by several MBA grads when I went and when I speak to them. Okay, Sajita, I will tell you that as I put my slide in the strategy, walk the talk. I am the person who walks the talk. You can understand that very clearly. So to answer your question, we are all like smartphones, and like smartphones needs an upgrade. We all need an upgrade. If you think you can sit and relax and life will go on, no, it will not. When I when data science came into picture, I was very curious. I'm a continuous learner. I took up a course in data science, and today I teach HR analytics in IIM Rohtak. Okay, when AI came into picture, I took up a learning. I took up a course, and today, in most of my work that I do today, day in and day out, I use AI generative tools. I understand how machine learning works. I understand how data science models, how random forest works, how the other data science algorithms work. Now, if you think that if you have to talk to industry people, if you have to stay relevant, you have to upskill yourself. It is not easy. At times, I have really compromised with my personal life. I have to really burn the midnight oil. And today, I'm doing research as well. So you can understand. So the life is a very continuous learning journey. And if you think that, yes, so if you have to take inspiration from my journey at this age, I am investing a lot of time in my learning. And if you have to upgrade and stay relevant, you have to do. AI is going to be the most important element, which is going to make a lot of difference in the lives of agile ambassadors, agile practitioners. It is going to make a difference. So yes, Sajita, there is no shortcut. You have to upskill, continuously be there, and you are doing it. The mere you being in this session itself says that how keen learning is for you. Yeah, over to you, Ashutosh.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, we'll take one last question from Vijay again. Yeah, Vijay, go ahead. What's your question?
I think it is already answered because my question was related to Ashwin question because now a trend is gaining momentum like you need to be serve as a product owner, but the inherent quality of product owner should be SME. I mean, having a functional knowledge, it should be. So I guess already given answer by uh, I got answer that I need to upskill on those areas and move ahead. I guess that is the right answer.
And learning
So,
doesn't stop. Learning doesn't stop, Vijay, at all. I think you have to, and you
mhm,
should be very curious, and that is where things really make a difference in your life. Yeah.
yeah, thanks.
Yeah, I think he gave a very good example of a mobile app getting upgraded, right? Every 15 days. I'm sure that motivates all of us. Okay, I think yeah, we are almost at the top of the hour. Yeah, and I know it's Friday. For all of us, yes, we are out. I mean, yes, we are back to offices. I know everyone has started going back to offices, and then we also have to balance out. Now, really, we have to do a work-life balance. So I think we can take a. I won't say that we are closing the session. We can take a pause for the learning. I would say. I would put it in that way. And yes, you can always reach out to Preem for more such, tidbits. I'm sure he has got a lot of these insights. And you can reach out to Preem. You can connect with him on LinkedIn. Yeah, you can see, you can locate his profile. In any case, I'll be sending you all the details of Prem, also this session recording and all to all of you. Do share this recording with your friends if you found it useful. It's also our duty to build a community, right? So you build your community also, right? That's how we build, right? If you found this session interesting, get 4 people to watch this session is what I would say. Okay, that's how the learning would spread, right? And that's how you will also be mentor to them. Right. So on that note, I would say we are good to close this session. Anything last words, Prem, from your side before we finally wrap it up?
I am extremely grateful to you, Ashutosh. I have been really proud, humbly proud that you have given an opportunity. You're doing an amazing kind of a work for people like us who want to learn and have a collaborative learning environment. So please keep doing this, Ashutosh. You are helping the community. You're giving back the community. It's an amazing job. Can I ask each one of you here in the participant to give a round of applause to Ashutosh sir?
No, it's not for me, it's for you. In fact, it's for you actually, Prem.
Thank you so
I mean,
much,
I
sir.
learned a lot. To be very honest, I learned a lot. And again, I'm not saying just for the sake of saying it. Definitely, like the mobile example. I mean, these are very simple examples from our day-to-day life, right? We ignore them.
Sure.
Right. And I think one thing what I learned is, yes, you first learn something, you teach to students, you further learn it, right? I mean, the kind of questions what you get. I think you gave a very apt examples of two key learnings on data science and analytics, right? So that definitely it has definitely motivated me to do something like this. So really thanks for you. And just a very, very small, I know it's nothing, but I'm still sharing it with you as a token of appreciation. From our community to you for the wonderful job you did for the last 1 hour. A small token of appreciation. I would request you to accept it. And yeah, looking forward for more such enlightening sessions. As I said, this is not an end of learning. In fact, we are starting with learning. It's just that the clock has turned 9, so we are pausing it, I would say. We are not closing the learning, but I'm sure there's a lot of learning which would come out of this. So thanks a lot, Prem, and really appreciate you spending time with us. And thanks, participants, for the wonderful questions, right? You are making the community. As I said, if you bring in more people to go through the recording, I'm sure they will also learn, right? So let's build a learning culture around us. So thanks a lot, and happy weekend and a happy Friday to all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks.